The first time my sister-in-law spat in my face, I just stood there, mascara streaking down my cheeks, wondering how my family could still be on her side. The hot July sun beat down on our backyard party, but I felt cold, watching my mother rush to comfort Vienna, her eyes throwing daggers at me. I'm Zella, and I've spent 30 years being the family's letdown, even though I haven't done anything wrong. I have a stable job, my own place, and I've never broken the law. No, my only crime is living in the shadow of my perfect brother, Antonio, and his flawless wife, Vienna. You ungrateful little. Vienna hissed, her perfectly manicured finger jabbing at my chest. How dare you accuse me of being behind your promotion being denied? I wiped my face with shaking hands. I saw the email you sent to my boss. You told him I was unstable. Zella, you're lying, my mother snapped, rubbing Vienna's shoulder. Why do you always have to stir up trouble at family events? The ache in my chest deepened as I looked around at my relatives. My father awkwardly hovered by the grill, pretending to be absorbed in flipping burgers. Antonio crossed his arms, standing between me and his precious wife. I have proof, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Vienna laughed, the sound like shattering glass. Show it then. Go ahead. I fumbled with my phone, but before I could open the email, my mother snatched it from my hands. Enough, she shouted. I won't let you ruin another family gathering with your jealousy. Vienna's done nothing but try to include you, and this is how you repay her. Include me? I scoffed bitterly. By destroying my career? By telling everyone I'm mentally unstable? Well, you're certainly acting unstable right now, Vienna said sweetly, wrapping her arm around Antonio's waist. Maybe you should see a therapist. My brother finally spoke up. Zell, come on. You're embarrassing yourself. That's when Vienna spat in my face, right in front of everyone. And not a single person came to my defense. You're pathetic, my mother muttered, shaking her head. Look at you, causing all this drama. Vienna's pregnant, for God's sake. She doesn't need this stress. The words hit me like a punch. Of course, she was pregnant. Of course, she chose that moment to announce it. Congratulations, I choked out, stepping back. I hope you're all very happy. Zella, wait, my father called, but I was already walking away. Let her go, Vienna said coolly. She'll calm down, she always does. I grabbed my purse from the table and headed for my car, my legs trembling as though they might give way at any moment. I fumbled with my keys, hearing my aunt's voice in the distance asking if I was okay. She's fine, my mother's voice rang out. Just being dramatic, as usual. Vienna's the real victim here. I slammed the car door shut, my vision blurred with tears. The thought running through my mind was clear. This time, I wouldn't just let it go. This time, things would be different. A text from Antonio buzzed in. You owe Vienna an apology. She's carrying your future niece or nephew. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I threw my phone on the passenger seat and sped off, tires screeching. In the rearview mirror, I saw my family gathered around Vienna, no doubt cooing over her pregnancy. But this time, the rage felt different. It wasn't just the usual sadness. It was anger. Vienna had gone too far, and my family had allowed it. No, they fueled it. As I drove away, I made a decision. I wouldn't just fade into the background again. I wouldn't take it. Vienna wanted to label me unstable. Fine. I'd show her what happens when you push someone too far. I pulled into a parking lot and grabbed my phone, searching for support groups. I needed people who understood, people who could help me fight back. The first result that popped up caught my attention. Breaking free from toxic family dynamics. Meeting tonight at 7:00 p.m. I checked the time, 6:15 p.m., just enough time to get there. For the first time that day, a small smile crept onto my face. The community center's fluorescent lights buzzed above me as I slipped into the back row of folding chairs. A dozen people sat in a circle, their faces worn with pain and exhaustion I could relate to. Would anyone like to share tonight? Asked Rita, the group facilitator, her voice warm and welcoming. Without thinking, my hand shot up. Maybe it was the lingering anger, or maybe it was just knowing I had nothing left to lose, but I needed to speak. I'm Zella, I said, my voice shaky. And today, my sister-in-law spat in my face while my entire family watched and did nothing. A collective gasp filled the room. A woman with bright purple braids leaned forward. She did what? Spat in my face. then announced she was pregnant, so everyone rushed to comfort her instead. I laughed bitterly, and the cherry on top, she's been secretly sabotaging my career. But somehow I'm the one who's supposed to apologize. That's messed up. A man in a navy sweater chimed in, like seriously messed up. I'm Aya, the woman with purple braids said, and I know all too well what it's like when toxic people hide behind pregnancy to get away with abuse. The man nodded. Khan, he introduced himself. Former family scapegoat, current advocate for standing up to bullies. After the meeting, Aya and Khan found me in the parking lot. Want to grab coffee? Aya asked. You look like you could use some friends right now. 20 minutes later, we sat in a 24-hour diner, and I found myself unloading everything over lukewarm coffee and stale pie. So she sent an email to your boss. Khan pulled out a notebook. Do you still have proof? It was forwarded to me by a coworker who saw it by mistake. I have screenshots. But, Aya pressed. But every time I try to stand up to her, I look like the crazy one. She's so good at twisting everything. Classic narcissist behavior, I said. They push you until you snap, then use your reaction to prove you're unstable, Khan said, jotting down notes. My phone buzzed again, another text from Antonio. Mom's crying because of you. Hope you're happy. Aya glanced at my phone and scowled. Let me guess. They're already trying to guilt trip you. I nodded, pushing my phone aside. You know what's interesting? Khan tapped his pen against his notebook. People like your sister-in-law tend to have a pattern. I'm willing to bet this isn't the first time she's done this. What do you mean? I mean we should look into her past, social media, old jobs, past friends. People talk, especially if they've been hurt. Aya's eyes lit up. I'm great at that kind of research. It's what I do for work, background checks. I don't know, I hesitated. Isn't that too much? Did she go too far when she spat in your face? Aya asked quietly, when she tried to ruin your career. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed with a notification. Someone had tagged me in a Facebook post. It was Vienna, posting about the family incident and how she was praying for my mental health during her precious pregnancy. Oh hell no, Aya grabbed my arm. She's trying to control the narrative. We need to act fast. I think I found something, Khan said, scrolling through his phone. Vienna used to work at Sterling Industries, right? I nodded, trying to keep my nerves in check. Well, check this out. 3 years ago, there was a massive HR scandal. Multiple employees came forward with complaints about bullying and sabotage, but no names were given. Still, the timing lines up with when Vienna left the company. My hands trembled. That's exactly what she did to me. Alia leaned in, her eyes sharp and focused. Zella, listen to me. You're not crazy. You're not being dramatic. You're being manipulated and abused, and it's time to stand up for yourself. Your family will either come to their senses or show their true colors. Khan added, either way, you'll be free. Suddenly, my phone buzzed. I froze as I saw the sender, Vienna's former assistant from Sterling Industries. Subject, I saw your sister-in-law's post. We need to talk. Alia squeezed my hand gently. With shaking fingers, I opened the email. My eyes widened as I read. Well? Khan asked, leaning forward. I looked up at my new friends, a strange sense of calm washing over me. She didn't just try to ruin my career. She's done this before, over and over, and her former assistant has proof. Then let's go, Alia said, her voice filled with determination. Let's get to work. For the first time in a long while, I felt something stronger than fear or sadness. I felt power. Vienna thought she could shut me down with a Facebook post and family pressure. She had no idea what was coming for her. I'm in, I said. Where do we start? Alia leaned forward in her chair as we sat in my apartment, going over the recording Vienna's former assistant had sent me. The sound of Vienna's voice filled the room. I don't care what you have to do. Just make sure Sarah doesn't get that promotion. Plant something in her desk if you have to. That position is mine. That's the third recording we found of her targeting someone's career, Khan noted, writing it down. They all follow the same pattern. I nodded, feeling nauseous, and they all ended up having mental breakdowns at work, just like she's trying to do to me. Your sister-in-law is busy, Alia muttered, scrolling through her laptop. Look at this, 5 different jobs in 7 years. She's been climbing higher by stepping on everyone around her. My phone buzzed again. It was a text from my mother. Vienna's having horrible morning sickness. The stress you're causing is only making it worse. Why can't you just apologize? Don't respond, Khan said quickly, noticing my reaction. That's exactly what they want. I know, I replied, swallowing hard. It's hard. They're still my family. Family doesn't let someone spit in your face, Aliyah said firmly. A knock at my door made us all jump. I peeked through the peephole and saw Antonio standing outside. It's my brother, I whispered. Record everything, Khan said, quickly setting up my phone's voice recorder. I opened the door to find Antonio, looking exhausted, his usual neat appearance now slightly disheveled. Can we talk? He asked quietly. Are you here to collect another apology for your wife? I said, crossing my arms. He flinched. Look, I know things got out of hand at the barbecue. Out of hand. I took a step back, letting Antonio see Aliyah and Kayan. Your wife spat in my face, Antonio, in front of the whole family. She's pregnant, Zella. Her hormones. Don't you dare, Aliyah interjected, standing up. Don't use her pregnancy to justify her abusive behavior. Antonio's eyes narrowed. Who are you, Zella? What is this? These are my friends, I said, pointing at Aliyah and Kayan. The only people who defended me after your wife assaulted me. Assaulted? Antonio scoffed. Now you're being dramatic. Khan pressed play on the recording we'd been reviewing. Vienna's voice rang out again. Plotting to ruin Sarah's career. Antonio's face went pale. What is this? Your wife's greatest hits, I said coldly. Want to hear more? We've got plenty. Where did you get this? His voice was trembling now. Turns out I'm not the first person Vienna's tried to destroy, I said. I'm just the latest, but I'll be the last. Are you threatening my wife? No, I said, maintaining my calm. I'm promising to expose the truth. Unless. I took a deep breath. Unless she publicly admits what she's done to me and others. Unless she gets help for whatever makes her need to destroy people. You're trying to blackmail us, Antonio said, his face reddening. I'm trying to stop her before she hurts anyone else, I corrected. Including your child. That hit him hard. I saw the flicker of doubt in his eyes. Think about it, Antonio, Aliyah said softly. What happens when the baby grows up? What happens when they start competing with Vienna for attention? What happens when they succeed at something she wants? Get out, Antonio said, but there was no conviction in his voice. All of you, leave. We're in my apartment, I reminded him. You can leave whenever you want. Just remember, I'm not backing down this time. As Antonio stormed out, my phone lit up with a notification. Someone had shared Vienna's Facebook post about my mental health in a local community group. Perfect timing, Can grinned, ready to release the first recording. I hesitated. What if it backfires? That's why we've got a plan, Aliyah said. We start small. Just enough to make people question her perfect image. I took a deep breath and typed my response to Vienna's post. Funny how my mental health issues started right after I discovered this email to my boss. I attached the screenshot. And now we wait, Can said. We didn't have to wait long. My phone exploded with notifications. Vienna was calling repeatedly. My mother had left angry voicemails. But amidst the family chaos, other messages began to appear. Vienna did the same thing to me at Sterling Industries. I thought I was crazy. She gaslighted me for months. I have emails too. Want them? I looked at my new friends, tears welling in my eyes. I can't believe this is really happening. Believe it, Aliyah said, pulling me into a hug. The truth is coming out, and there's nothing she can do to stop it. Just then, a new email popped up from Vienna herself. Subject: We need to talk now. Khan smiled grimly. Let the games begin. Don't open it yet, Khan warned as I reached for my phone. Let's savor this. We were now at Aliyah's apartment, watching the chaos unfold on social media. The support group had helped us launch a petition called Stop Workplace Bullying. Share your story. And the responses were flooding in. Another one from Sterling Industries, Aliyah said, scrolling through her laptop. This woman says Vienna threatened to tell HR she was stealing if she didn't quit. My phone buzzed again. Vienna's third email in an hour. Subject: You're making a huge mistake. Now can I respond? I asked. Wait for it, Khan said, checking his watch. Your brother should be home from work any minute now. Just as he said that, my phone rang. Antonio, I answered, putting it on speaker. Aaliyah quietly hit record on her phone. What the hell are you doing? Antonio's voice crackled through the speaker. Telling the truth, I replied. How's Vienna handling it? She's hysterical. Her doctor's worried about the baby's stress levels. Is that what you want? To hurt my child? That's rich, Aaliyah cut in, using an unborn baby as a shield again. Stay out of this, Antonio snapped. Zella, you need to take down that post and the petition now. Or what? We'll sue you for defamation. Vienna's already talking to lawyers. I chuckled, surprising myself. Great, let's get everything documented for court. I'm sure her former coworkers would love to testify. There was a pause on the other end. Tell Vienna to check her email, I said. I'm about to respond to her messages. I hung up and opened my laptop to read Vienna's emails. Keep it professional, Khan advised. No emotions. I typed out a response. Dear Vienna, I'm open to discussing this situation. Feel free to bring your lawyer and I'll bring mine, along with supporting documents from your previous colleagues. Your choice. Best regards, Zella. Send it, Aaliyah urged. As soon as I pressed send, a new notification appeared. Someone had posted a video in the comments of our petition. Oh my God, I whispered, watching the footage. It was security footage from Sterling Industries parking lot, showing Vienna keying a car and then falsely claiming it was someone else. The timestamp, Count pointed out. This was 2 days before Sarah's breakdown at work. Who sent this? I asked. Anonymous, Aaliyah replied. But the message says former security guard. They're willing to verify it in court. My phone buzzed with a message from my mom. Your father has been on blood pressure medication because of this mess. I hope you're happy destroying our family. Before I could respond, Vienna went live on Facebook. Play it, I said. Vienna's tear-streaked face appeared on the screen. I want to address the horrible lies being spread about me. I'm deeply hurt that my sister-in-law, who clearly needs help, is attacking me during my pregnancy. I've only ever tried to support her career, and I forgive her because that's what family does. I just pray she gets the mental health support she needs. Turn it off, I said. I can't watch any more of this. Wait, Can held up his hand. Look at the comments. The comments were coming in fast, but they were far from supportive. Where's your response to the Sterling Industries video? I worked with you at Maxwell Corp. Should I share our emails too? Playing the victim. You're the bully. Classic narcissist. Vienna ended the stream abruptly. She's panicking, Can said. This isn't going according to her plan. My laptop pinged with another email. Unknown sender, subject line. Vienna Hopkins. What she did to me. It was a detailed message from someone claiming to be Vienna's college roommate, complete with screenshots of messages showing a long history of manipulation and sabotage. This is bigger than we thought, Aaliyah said quietly. Forward it to Antonio, Khan suggested. He needs to know who he married. As I forwarded the email, another text came in from my dad. Can we talk? Just us. I showed it to the others. Go, Aaliyah said. But meet him somewhere public and keep your phone recording. I texted back. Coffee shop on 5th Street in 30 minutes. His response. I'll be there. No mom, no Vienna. Promise. I grabbed my jacket, my hands shaking. What do I even say to him? The truth? Khan said simply. Just the truth. We'll be nearby if you need us. Aaliyah hugged me. Stay strong. As I left for my car, Vienna's latest email arrived. You have no idea what you've started. I smiled grimly. For once, she was right. She had no idea what was coming. My father looked older than I remembered as he sat across from me in the coffee shop, his coffee untouched. Dark circles under his eyes spoke volumes. Your mother doesn't know I'm here, he said quietly. I figured. I wrapped my hands around my cup, grounding myself. How bad is it at home? Vienna's been throwing up all morning, claiming it's stress-induced. He paused. Antonio's in the guest room. That's new. They're fighting. He found more emails. Old ones from before they got married. His voice cracked. She did something similar to his ex-girlfriend. Made it look like she was stealing from their shared apartment. And you're just now believing me. I couldn't keep the bitterness out of my voice. Zella? His phone buzzed. He glanced at it and winced. Mom, he nodded. She's called 12 times since I left. Let me see, I said. He turned his phone toward me. The messages made my stomach turn. Where are you? Vienna's having contractions. If you're with Zella, I'll never forgive you. The doctor says she might lose the baby because of the stress. She's lying, I said flatly. Vienna's been posting on Instagram all morning. She's at the salon. Dad's eyes widened. What? I showed him Vienna's stylist's latest post from an hour ago. Vienna getting highlights and smiling at the camera. The caption, pampering my favorite mama-to-be. #hate pregnancy glow. Oh God, Dad whispered. Your mother? She's been crying all morning about Vienna being in the hospital. My phone buzzed again. Aliyah had sent a link to a new post in our petition group. Someone had shared Vienna's salon photo alongside my mom's Facebook status about rushing Vienna to the emergency room. It's all falling apart, isn't it? Dad said, his voice hollow. It was never real to begin with. The coffee shop door chimed, and I looked up to see Antonio walking in, his face pale. He slid into the booth with us. We need to talk about what? I asked. About how Vienna destroyed your ex's life? Or about how she's been manipulating everyone for years? Antonio asked. Or about how I'm filing for divorce? The words hung in the air. What? Dad and I said at the same time. Antonio pulled out his phone. Remember my old girlfriend, Maria? The one who supposedly stole from us? He hit play on a voice recording. Vienna's voice echoed through the booth. Of course I planted the jewelry in her gym bag. That's stupid. Actually thought Antonio would believe her over me. Please, now she's gone, and I got exactly what I wanted. Where did you get that? I whispered. Her old roommate from college sent it to me, Antonio said. She's been holding on to it for years, feeling guilty. Antonio's hands were trembling. There's more, so much more. God, I've been such a fool. Dad put his head in his hands. Your mother, she's going to have to face the truth. I finished firmly, the truth. My phone buzzed again. Vienna had gone live on Instagram once more, this time from her lawyer's office. Play it, Antonio said. Vienna's tear-streaked face appeared. I'm here to announce that I'm filing a restraining order against my sister-in-law, who has launched a vicious campaign of harassment against me and my unborn child. Comments flooded in almost instantly. But you were at the salon an hour ago. What about the Sterling Industries video? Stop playing the victim. You're the bully. Classic narcissist. The live stream ended abruptly. She doesn't know I'm here, Antonio said. She thinks I'm at work supporting her lawsuit. What are you going to do? I asked. I've already done it, Antonio replied. I filed for divorce this morning. My lawyer has copies of everything. The recordings, the emails, the videos, all of it. Dad's phone buzzed again. Answer it, I said. Put it on speaker. Roland, where are you? My mom's voice crackled through the speaker. Vienna's being rushed to the hospital again. No, she's not, Dad interjected. His voice was steadier than I had ever heard it. She's at her lawyer's office. I can see her Instagram live stream right now. Silence. We need to talk, Dad said. All of us. About the truth. What truth? Mom's voice quivered. The truth about what Vienna's done to our family, Antonio said loudly. About what she's done to everyone. Another notification popped up on my phone. The local news wanted to interview me about the workplace bullying petition. It's your choice, Count texted. Ready to take this public. I glanced at my father and brother. Both nodded slowly. Yes, I typed back. It was time for the truth to come out. Just stay calm, Aliyah whispered as the crew set up their gear in my living room. Remember, you're not the bad guy here. Sarah Martinez, the reporter, adjusted her blazer with a smile. We'll start with the petition for workplace bullying and then move on to the more personal details, if you're comfortable. My phone buzzed. Vienna's lawyer had sent another menacing email. Great timing, Khan said, peeking over my shoulder. Forward that to Antonio's divorce attorney. The cameraman gave a countdown. 3, 2, 1. I'm here with Sela May, whose workplace bullying petition has gathered over 10,000 signatures in just 3 days. Sarah began. Zella, what inspired you to start this movement? I took a steadying breath. It all started when my sister-in-law ruined my career and then slapped me at a family gathering. But when more people came forward, I realized it was about more than just my experience. Your sister-in-law, Vienna Hawkins May, has filed for a restraining order against you, alleging harassment. How do you respond to that? Actually, Antonio's voice came from the doorway. She hasn't filed a thing yet, but I have filed for divorce. Sarah's eyebrows shot up as my brother stepped into view. This is unexpected. So was discovering what my wife has done to people's lives, Antonio said, sitting next to me. I'm here to tell the truth. My phone buzzed again. It was a call from Mom. Answer it, con-mouthed. We're live, I reminded, putting it on speaker. Vienna's being rushed to the hospital. Mom's frantic voice came through. The baby. No, she's not, Antonio interrupted. She's at the spa. I just got the credit card notification. The line fell silent. Mom, I said calm and steady, you're live on TV. Care to explain why you've been lying about Vienna's medical emergencies? Sarah leaned forward, her professional poise unwavering. Mrs. May, are you aware that falsely reporting medical emergencies could be considered fraud? The call went dead. Well, this is certainly more dramatic than expected, Sarah said. Let's move on to the workplace incidents. The door flew open, and Vienna stormed in, face flushed with fury and wearing a spa robe. You little. She snarled at me, but froze when she saw the cameras. Perfect timing, Sarah said smoothly. Vienna, would you like to address the allegations? We have some very interesting security footage from Sterling Industries. You can't air that, Vienna stammered, voice shaking. I'll sue for reporting the truth. Antonio stood up. Like the truth about what you did to Maria? Vienna's face drained of color. Who told you about that? Your old roommate sent me the recording, Antonio said, the one where you bragged about planting stolen jewelry in Maria's gym bag. The cameraman zoomed in on Vienna's face as it crumbled. I was protecting us, she whispered. Everything I did was for us. No, Antonio said firmly. Everything you did was for you. My phone buzzed with a message from Dad. On my way with the police. Your mom called them, claiming Vienna's being held hostage. You want to wait for the police? I asked Vienna. Mom called the police again. What? Vienna gasped, hand flying to her stomach. No. Real contractions this time? Alia asked, her voice sweet with sarcasm. Or more manipulation? Vienna's eyes darted around the room. She took in the cameras, the witnesses, and her husband's disgusted expression. I can explain everything, she said weakly. Please do, Sarah urged, gesturing to an empty chair. We're live, and our viewers are eager to hear your side. Sirens wailed in the distance. Vienna Hawkins May. A police officer shouted from the doorway. We just received a report of a hostage situation. As you can see, Sarah gestured around the room. Miss Hopkins May walked in freely, interrupting our live interview about workplace bullying. Interview? Vienna's voice cracked. This was a setup. No, I said calmly. This was consequences. The officer looked confused. Ma'am, making false reports is a serious crime. Who called this in? My mother. I said, who's been calling in false reports all day. We've documented it all. Suddenly, Vienna lunged at my laptop on the coffee table. I'll delete everything. All the evidence. Antonio grabbed her arm. It's over, Vienna. Everything's already been backed up and sent to my lawyer. Your lawyer? She laughed hysterically. I'm carrying your child. Are you? Antonio asked softly, because my lawyer has some interesting medical records suggesting otherwise. The room went completely still. The camera kept rolling. Vienna's face crumpled as she looked at Antonio. Antonio, please. Say good for court, he said, turning away. And with that, it was all over. As the police began taking statements, my phone buzzed with messages from the support group. You did it. She can't hurt anyone else now. Thank you for being brave. I glanced at Alia and Cam, both of whom were glowing with pride. The truth had finally come out. 2 weeks later, the courthouse steps were crowded with reporters. Alia and Cam flanked me as we approached. It was Vienna's hearing today. She was facing multiple charges of harassment and fraud. A reporter thrust a microphone toward me. How do you feel about your sister-in-law's claim that she's checking into a mental health facility? No comment, Cam said, guiding me through the crowd. Inside, Antonia was sitting on a bench, looking worn out. She's trying to claim diminished capacity, he said when we sat down. Her lawyer says she's had a psychological breakdown. Convenient timing, Aliyah muttered. The courtroom doors opened and my parents walked in. Mom looked drained, her usual composed demeanor showing cracks. Dad gave me a small wave. "Can we sit with you?" he asked quietly. Before I could respond, Vienna's lawyer rushed over. "Mr. and Mrs. May, a word, please. Your testimony about your daughter-in-law's mental state will be crucial." Mom straightened. "Actually, we're here to support Sela." The lawyer blinked in confusion. "But Mrs. Hopkins May said you vouch for her character." "We've done enough of that," Dad interrupted. "Too much." Vienna walked in then, dressed in a conservative dress, no makeup, and clutching a tissue. Her performance was flawless, but the flash of fury in her eyes when she saw us all together was impossible to miss. "All rise," the bailiff called as the judge entered. My phone vibrated with a message from Maria, Antonio's ex. "Just landed. Coming straight there. Got more evidence." The proceedings began with Vienna's lawyer painting her as a troubled woman in need of help, not punishment. Then it was the prosecution's turn. "Your Honor," the prosecutor began, "I'd like to call our first witness. Sarah Thompson, former Sterling Industries employee." Sarah walked up to the stand, hands steady, and gave Vienna a hard look as she testified about the sabotage, the planted evidence, and the orchestrated breakdown. "Do you have proof of these allegations?" the prosecutor asked. Sarah nodded. "Emails, voice recordings, and security footage, plus 16 other employees ready to testify." Vienna's lawyer jumped to his feet. "Objection. My client was experiencing mental health issues during which she documented." "Only after being caught," the prosecutor countered. "We have evidence of premeditation spanning years." The courtroom doors opened quietly. Maria slipped in, holding a thick folder. Antonio's expression hardened as she settled behind us. "The prosecution calls Maria Rodriguez." Vienna's calm demeanor faltered as Maria took her place on the witness stand. "Miss Rodriguez, can you tell the court about the jewelry incident?" Maria's voice was steady and confident. "Vienna planted my grandmother's jewelry in my gym bag and then reported it as stolen. But she didn't know I had secretly installed a camera in my apartment after several things went missing." The prosecutor handed over a USB drive to the judge. "Exhibit C, Your Honor. Security footage showing the defendant placing the items in Ms. Rodriguez's bag." Vienna jumped up, shouting, "She's lying." "They're all lying." "Mrs. Hopkins May," the judge cautioned, "please remain composed." "I'm pregnant," Vienna screamed. "You can't do this to me." "About that," Antonio's lawyer stood up, "we have medical records that disprove that claim." The courtroom erupted in whispers. Vienna's expression shifted from desperation to cold calculation. "Fine," she sneered, "you want the truth? Here it is. They all got what they deserved. They were weak, pathetic. I just revealed their true selves." Her lawyer tried to intervene, but Vienna shoved him aside. "You think I'm the villain?" She pointed at me. "She turned my whole family against me. She ruined my marriage." "No," my mother's voice rang out, firm and clear. "You did that yourself." Vienna spun around. "You're taking her side after everything I've done for this family?" "You mean everything you've done to this family?" Dad replied. "Order." The judge's gavel struck hard. "Mrs. Hopkins May, your outburst will not benefit your case." Vienna laughed bitterly. "Oh, I'm guilty. Guilty of being strong enough to take what I wanted. And I'd do it all again." The judge's expression hardened. "Given the defendant's admission and the overwhelming evidence, I am prepared to issue a ruling." As the judge recited Vienna's sentence, multiple charges of harassment, fraud, and property damage, I felt a hand slip into mine. Mom's eyes were filled with tears. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "I should have believed you. We all should have." Antonio, standing beside me, added. As Vienna was taken away by officers, she turned to face us one last time. "This isn't over," she hissed. "Yes," I said, surrounded by my true family and real friends, "it is." The truth hadn't just set me free, it had freed everyone Vienna had ever hurt. And that made it all worth it. "Are you ready?" Alia adjusted my microphone as we prepared for another television interview. This time, I wasn't nervous. What began as a simple petition for workplace bullying had transformed into a nationwide nonprofit organization. Today, we were launching a national hotline for victims of harassment at work. Remember when speaking up in group meetings used to be a challenge for you? Can teased, adjusting his tie. As our legal advisor, he'd helped countless victims fight back. My phone buzzed with a message from Antonio. Vienna's latest appeal was denied. It's truly over. 5 minutes to air, the producer called. Mom and Dad entered, carrying boxes full of promotional materials for the hotline. They had become surprising allies, with Mom especially throwing herself into volunteer work. Guess what came in? Mom said, holding up a letter. It was Vienna's mandatory therapy progress report. The therapist says she's showing genuine remorse. Good for her, I said with sincerity. But it doesn't change anything. Dad nodded. Some bridges can't be rebuilt. Just then, Maria walked in with her newborn. She and Antonio had reconnected during the trial, and although they were taking things slow, it was clear there was still a spark. Sorry we're late, Maria said, soothing the fussy baby. Someone wasn't a fan of her interview outfit. Antonio followed, carrying the diaper bag. Like aunt, like niece, both stubborn. Mind your language, Mom teased, though a smile tugged at her lips. The producer approached with Sarah Martinez, who had become a passionate supporter of our cause after our first explosive interview. We'll start with the hotline launch, Sarah said, and then discuss the impact of your story. We've got calls lined up from people you've helped, including me, said a familiar voice. I turned to see Sarah Thompson from Sterling Industries. She'd gone from being a victim to becoming a board member of our organization, helping other survivors rebuild their careers. The network is picking up the show nationally, Sarah Martinez added. Your message is going to reach millions. Feeling nervous? Aliyah asked quietly. I looked around at my support system, my true family, both by blood and by choice. Not anymore. 2 minutes, my phone lit up with messages from the support group. You gave us our voices back, watching with my whole office. Thank you for fighting for us. May, the producer called. We need you and your team in position. As we took our places under the bright studio lights, I caught a glimpse of my reflection in a camera lens. The scared, uncertain woman who had let her sister-in-law spit in her face was gone. In her place stood someone stronger, someone who had learned that speaking up wasn't just about fighting back, it was about lifting others up. 30 seconds. Antonio squeezed my hand. You know what Mom said yesterday? That Vienna did give our family a gift, after all. What's that? I asked. She showed us who we really are and who we could be. 10 seconds. I straightened my shoulders, feeling the weight of all the stories we collected, all the lives we touched. 5, 4, 3, 2. Good morning, Sarah Martinez began. Today we're here with Sela and her team, who turned a personal story of workplace bullying into a national movement. As the interview continued, calls poured in from across the country, people sharing their stories, offering support, asking for help. Each one reminded me why we'd started this journey. Final question, Sarah asked toward the end. What would you say to someone who's being bullied or harassed right now? I leaned into the microphone, picturing the day everything had changed in my parents' backyard. You're not crazy. You're not alone. And you don't have to be silent anymore. We're here, we believe you, and we'll help you fight back. And cut, the producer called. That's a wrap. As the crew began packing up, Aliyah pulled me into a tight hug. Look at what you've built. From the ashes of what she tried to destroy. My phone buzzed one last time, a message from an unknown number. I'm sorry for everything. I showed it to the others. Are you going to respond? Mom asked. I deleted the message. Some chapters need to stay closed. Speaking of chapters, Khan said, we've got that book deal meeting next week, ready to tell your story to an even bigger audience. Our story, I corrected, looking at everyone who'd stood by me. It was never just mine. At that moment, baby Sophia let out a joyful squeal, making us all laugh. Come on, Antonio said. Let's go grab lunch. We've got more work to do. As we left the studio together, I realized something. Vienna had tried to write my story, casting me as the villain, but she ended up teaching me to write my own, and it turned out to be much better than anything she could have imagined. Not because I won, but because we all did. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Stay stunned.